Checking in on the war in Ukraine, where authorities are stepping up calls for civilians to evacuate the northeast city of Kupiansk, which is undergoing relentless Russian shelling. This comes as Russian forces hope to capture the city of Bakhmut. If they did, it would be the first city captured by Russia in months. Here to discuss now with us the latest developments out of Ukraine, NewsNation senior national security contributor and former U.S. Air Force Assistant Vice Chief of Staff, General Richard Newton. It is great to see you. Thanks for being here tonight.
Good evening, Natasha. Good to be with you.
Thank you. And despite Ukraine retaking the area in the fall, reports say that Russian forces have made it impossible for parts of Ukraine's Kharkiv region to return to normal life. What are you hearing about the situation on the ground there right now?
Right now, what I'm hearing is, first off, it's a slog because you've got, they're now approaching spring and very muddy conditions, very difficult conditions for tracked vehicles, much less movement of infantry and so forth. Russians are really dug in trying to take back Bakhmut if they possibly can. It's only rubble of a city. Putin actually demanded that his Russian military forces and his generals retake Bakhmut back in the middle of December. And so here we are in the middle of March. That hasn't happened. So it'd be absolutely, I think, a small tactical gain, but key in terms of a small victory, but would mean, probably more to Russia than it would be in terms of a loss to Ukraine from a tactical and operational standpoint. But regardless, Natasha, Russia is still losing on the battlefield. And what we saw, for instance, on Thursday night, they launched 81 missiles against a vast array of Ukrainian targets, both civilians and infrastructure. And so this points to the fact that Putin is still on his heels, but Bakhmut does, it's important to him, but perhaps less important from a strategic standpoint.
Yeah, why is Russia so specifically invested in this part of Ukraine? What does it mean to Putin?
Well, what it means to Putin is back in 2014 when they took over the Donbass region as well as the south and Crimea. That was one of the that's where this whole Russian invasion began, other than certainly on February 24th of last year of our latest invasion. But nonetheless, it's important to him both from a battlefield standpoint, but also he's got a domestic audience that he has to pay very close attention to now, because he told the Russian people that he would take back the Donbass region, which he thinks is part of Russia. And Bakhmut is a very important city or small town, if you will, to do so. But if he's not able to even take Bakhmut, then what else is he going to be able to do in terms of not only in the eastern, Donbass region, but down there in south and Crimea and so forth. So it's a tactical opportunity here, but it could, from his standpoint, have strategic implications. But I don't think it's really going to move much, certainly, of the chess pieces on the battlefield.
Okay, I appreciate that perspective. And I do want to ask you about a report of U.S. arms ending up in the hands of Iran. So are weapons sent to the front lines of Ukraine being shipped to Iran by Russia, picked up on the battlefield when left behind, potentially opening the door for Iran to gain access to our technology? And specifically last night on the show, we were having a conversation about the Javelin missiles and that tech potentially being replicated. How concerning is this development to you in general?
Well, it's always concerning when you have U.S. arms into the hands of our adversaries and so forth. And let me kind of lay a groundwork here, though. I don't believe, my sources tell me also, but also the Department of Defense, especially through the Inspector General, has says it's not a widespread concern. But one weapon in the hands of one U.S. weapon in the hands of an adversary is not a good thing. But nonetheless, it's not as widespread as maybe some of the reports that you alluded to. But nonetheless, there are losses on the battlefield, and Russia, when it defeats a tactical engagement with Ukrainians, they're going to take those weapons, and if they happen to be U.S. weapons, sure, they're going to take them, and they'll do what they call reverse engineering, or they'll hand it over to, say, a proxy team member of theirs called Iran, and see if they can do a reverse engineering also on in this case, perhaps the Javelin missile. But it's not as widespread. But however, I think it's very important that we not take our eye off of this, that we have very stringent oversight, including how we are able to track the weapons with data security efforts and so forth, and that we make sure that the least amount of weapons fall in the hands of our adversaries.
Absolutely. And General Newton, always appreciate your time. It's always good to see you. Thank you so much. Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.